I think if we work together, we can level the playing field. This shirt is a first step.
Welcome to another amazing episode of TEQ. Is phase 2 of my weekend in the UK to celebrate Manchester United, Qualcomm and Red, and the new partnership that these three big brand names are bringing to market. And Don and I have been talking about partnerships, and obviously I had the honor to be here in Manchester before to talk about your collaboration, but today we're taking it to a next level. Right. And you've been very smart in leveraging the power of that partnership to bring another big name to the shirt. And so Red today debuts on the front of the Manchester United shirt.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, I think the one thing that we've done with Manchester United is we've built a lot of innovation into our partnership. And one of the things that is available as a part of the rule set for the English Premier League is to swap out the front of shirt sort of branding when it comes to a charitable organization. So we wanted to actually bring that to life. It hasn't kind of been done a lot, but we wanted to activate that part of the contract. So when we talked about it, we then, Qualcomm, we went in search of the right partner. And I met Jen here at Davos a few years ago, and we talked about how could we get together, how could we do something together that was really compelling. We really wanted to work together, and we spent a couple years sort of brainstorming on ways we could work together. And then we sort of triangulated, when we inked our front of shirt partnership with Manchester United, and this was part of that deal. I went back to Jen and we had a conversation, and then we met with Manchester United in Davos. The three of us got together and talked about this. And then from that point on, it was just how do we bring this thing to life and make this happen, and we're here. And so it's finally happening.
We're definitely here.
A lesson in perseverance.
A lesson in perseverance, for sure, on everybody's part, I think.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of excitement because I know that you personally, in your role as CMO at Qualcomm, have really focused on a lot of societal issues and really leveraging your brand and taking your brand to that good for society piece as well. And I love the United for Life in respect to really making a difference in equality and equity in the health system. You have a lot of causes that you can think of as far as the first opening. Why did this matter to you?
Well, I think, when you talk about health inequities and health injustice, it's a topic that nobody can argue right against. It's not controversial.
There's no political.
If we can find one thing these days.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's like if we can find one thing that is both, everyone can agree on, to level the playing field, to provide equal access to healthcare, and medicines, medications, and vaccinations, and everything, and even treatments and information and data. And that's one thing that our technology does, right? That's one thing that Snapdragon can bring to people's lives is that access, and it literally is equal access, right? Yeah. So providing that equal access through our technology to then bolster equal access to healthcare, we thought it was a perfect match, and it's all about brand values aligning. Our mission, Red's mission, Manchester United. So we look for those connection points. It's really important because if you don't have that connection point, it seems inauthentic, and it doesn't seem like it really kind of goes together, and then it falls flat.
Yes. And
we really feel like we had like kind of a big winner here when we got together and we aligned on everything. So.
And there's nothing more than especially Gen Zers and Gen Alpha want than authenticity in the way that brands just portray themselves.
And we want to create a moment that creates a movement, right? So we need people to understand the good work that Red does on behalf of the Global Fund, and we want to bring that to a whole new generation. So why not use this platform of global football and the brand of Manchester United, the 1.1 billion fans around the world, and this next generation of Gen Z, Gen Alpha, to reintroduce, in a lot of ways, the concept of Red and the activism that they could bring towards their goals to continue to provide much needed dollars, but also much needed attention
and awareness
to this, kind of health injustice problem that we face. So we think it's amazing, and we're so excited to be here, sort of activating it this weekend.
I can't be happier.
I'm curious, Mark, as you get into your role of Chief Business Officer at Manchester United, obviously the partnership was set. What's your perspective? How do you see both a partnership with Qualcomm and Red?
Yeah, so firstly, welcome to Old Trafford today.
Thank
the sun
you.
is shining. We're very happy to have you here.
I know.
So, yeah, I'm fairly new into my role, just 2.5 months in. I've been lucky enough to work for some of the biggest and best rights holders and clubs in the world of sport. And there's something very special about Manchester United and something very special about the partnership with Don and the team at Qualcomm for the Snapdragon brand. And I've inherited a fantastic partnership that has got so many different aspects to it. And I think this campaign today is something I've seen Don is very, very proud of from the day I've joined, and we haven't had a dinner before I joined. And you know, from the launch and Davos all the way through to today with Jen here, you know, we're giving Red one of the most powerful pieces of real estate in the world of sport.
Absolutely.
In the world, period, yeah.
And the Red logo on the shirt, which looks amazing, by the way,
Yep.
is going to be seen all over the world today by billions of people. So it's something we're very proud of, and I've seen it firsthand, that the passion of Don to not only build Snapdragon as this amazing consumer-facing brand that he's doing so well at, but also the passion for this project and talking about health injustice and everything else. So we're very, very proud for this to come to fruition today, but it's more than just today. It's been the whole build up to it. Amazing content film with Gary Neville and the guy. So yeah, it's been a fantastic campaign.
Jen, from your perspective, from a Red perspective, what are you hoping to achieve both in terms of tangible impact and then awareness?
Well, I just want to say I am sitting here with goosebumps. This is beyond a dream come true for Red. You know, we are 20 people in New York that are working our tails off to find the right brands. And, you know, everybody says to us, oh, well, this football team is red and this football team is red. And it's like, well, just because the color is red doesn't mean that our values are lined up. But I didn't actually realize that would happen. And so first and foremost for us, as Mark mentioned and Don mentioned, the opportunity to have Red be seen by billions of people around the world is just unbelievable, because what we think about at Red and what our co-founders Bono and Bobby Shriver always said to us is, yes, it's about getting the check, but before you get the check, you got to create the heat. You have to get people to care. And the way we get people to care is to see the brand and then want to learn more about it. And so everything that has already been said about this next generation, how do you get into them? I mean, several years ago, we said to our board, we want to create a world for Red in sport. I never thought that we were going to go to the biggest sports brand in the world. As someone who's a Boston sports fan, I am blown away in speaking and working with the Manchester United team and the Snapdragon team. These are people who, as Mark mentioned, are so committed. This isn't just about like doing some good. This is about people who really understand. And so what I would love to do is figure out, how do we do this well? And we've already started, here we are. But what do we do next in this space, and how could we do it? But I feel like we've set the bar very high, guys, in terms of what anybody who's going to work with us is going to deliver in this world. So I think that for us, what we want to do is build upon this, see what more we can do. I mean, yes, it took 3 years, but then it all came together pretty quickly once we got rolling with the teams. So we want to be able to see, is there other ways we can do this in sport? And then from a Red perspective, we're also focused in other worlds like fashion or philanthropy and all of that. So Red is always about pushing to that next level. And wow, did we just get some rocket fuel in our mission in this one. So really, really grateful.
I'm curious as well from the Manchester United side of things. I was talking about Qualcomm wanting to have more of a social impact, but you do too. So how are you thinking about the collaboration with Red and Qualcomm and kind of learnings that it might take to have a bigger impact within your fan base?
Yeah, we're very proud of our Manchester United Foundation, and many of our partners work quite closely with the foundation, but I think this gives it the rocket boost that Jen mentioned.
Yep.
This is a whole different level for us. It's the first time we've had a charity brand on the front of our shirt. We're trying to innovate in the partnership. First time we have a back of shirt partner with one of Don's OEMs, with Microsoft Copilot. For us, it just takes it to that next level. We're really excited about what we can build from here as well.
And you're broadening more and more the reach from a fan base perspective by leveraging different passion points that people might have, which is super smart. I'm curious, Jennifer, was any learnings in particular from this collaboration that you want to take to your next endeavor?
I mean, I don't know how we'll ever replicate this because this is just so massive, but I think that we have to just keep thinking about new ideas. And in this world we're living in, as all of us know, people's attention span is so small. So how do we do things that are lasting? I mean, driving up today with Don and seeing that huge billboard or whatever it was is just though I don't know how we're ever going to be able to do that with anybody. So, just growing, making it bigger and better. And also like, how can we get more people engaged? We've got shirts that we'll be selling, merch that we'll be selling. How do we scale that? Because again, this is about driving money, but the heat is so critical. And so, we will be continuing to think through this. We've already said there are so many opportunities to do more, but let's get this right. And I feel like it is so right. And so I am sure by tonight, when I put my head on the pillow, we'll be starting to think about what's next.
Well, and by the way, oftentimes when you get, three, let alone two brands, sort of together to try to collaborate on things.
It's hard.
It's hard, right? This, I'm not going to jinx it, but I'm going to jinx it. This was easy.
Yeah.
The way the teams collaborated through creative reviews and just getting feedback on how we were going to build this story together, it was as seamless as you can get by getting three groups together that, have different viewpoints, have different agendas at times. But when we came together when we're creating content, when we're deciding how we show up to the world together, it was so easy. It was incredible how easy it was and how the teams worked together to bring this to life. And everybody brought their unique perspective, right? Manchester United brought their unique perspective to, okay, if we're going to do this, here's how we see that. Here's what's going to resonate with our fans. Here's how we're going to be able to take it to the next level. Jen's team, creative team, took the reins on certain things and just started playing with things real time to make it seem sort of more impactful. It just was a really smooth, sort of process. It's like I said, it was incredible how well the teams worked together, and I think the results prove that because it came out so special.
It did.
It's crazy because I've worked with a lot of different partners before, and this has been
and you see it and it just works, right? And I think that goes back to at the core of what these three brands stand for. It was the right combination. And I think that is very hard when you are Red and you've got people who want to be part of the Red brand. It's hard to figure out sometimes what their motives are. And so I think that maybe it was because it was so long that we were trying to figure this out. We got to know each other. We got to understand what was important to you, what was important to Manchester United. And then it makes everything, I think, a little bit easier. It was never easy because this is really hard work that we're all doing. It's really important work. But the teams worked so well together. And that is just, you can't ask for more.
And the perfect encapsulation of that three brands coming together is the hero film. I mean,
exactly.
Jen talked about Goosebumps here today. Everybody who's seen that movie.
Exactly.
Very much so.
Incredibly powerful emotion.
Exactly. Our co-founders don't compliment me often, but that one they said, "Oh my gosh, you nailed it." Yeah. So
But I think it goes back to your point that you made earlier about it's not just about a company that wears,
that's right.
Like a brand with red. It's really about the core principle that all of you stand for. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, Don, though, beyond the fronter shirt, obviously, you're a technology company. How are you thinking about bringing technology into this experience and energize the fan base, whether it is the Snapdragon Insiders or the Manchester United fan base from a technology perspective?
Well, I mean, as part of our overarching effort to build Snapdragon as a consumer brand, as Marc stated a little bit earlier, we have to connect the dots between not just the name and the cool logo and the cool brand, but what is it that we do? Why do we matter? Because we have to build understanding, and then activate on understanding. So a lot of things that we're doing. As that kind of as a wrapper around this, the shot on Snapdragon content, the hero film was completely shot on Snapdragon, right? So that talks and speaks to the power of our technology and how good it is, because that film was beautiful, it was shot beautifully, it was produced beautifully, and that speaks to the power of what Snapdragon can do and enable for people, not only to do something like that and that sort of big, but just in people's everyday lives, right? As they're moving through their lives, as they're capturing moments with their family and friends. The power of what our technology does is that incredible. And I think we connect the dots there often. We were just, before we got on camera with you, we were just watching the walk-in of the team and Ruben and sort of the live feed from the other end of the stadium with people lined up, trying to get signatures of their favorite players. That entire live feed was is being shot on Snapdragon. So those are more ways that we're sort of tying things together, and we're always looking for new ways. And we've got multiple product categories we can explore within our partnership with Manchester United. So we're going to keep pushing the envelope and doing more and more.
How are you going to measure success? I'm sure it's a little bit different for all three of you. What does ROI look like in a partnership like this?
I mean, first of all, just the fact we're sitting here, I feel like tick that box.
That's a win.
Yeah, my job is done here. No, I think that I would say measuring success is really just the awareness and getting people to understand. And it's interesting because what you just said about we want people to understand what Snapdragon is and what Snapdragon does, that's exactly what Red's looking to do. So the ability for people to interact with Red, go to, red.org or go to our Instagram page, that is where they will then become fans of Red, learn about our work. Because yes, all of this stuff is incredible, but this is about the work on the ground that we're all, we can't lose sight of that. And so we want to make sure that people are understanding that. And the more people that see our logo and want to learn more about, everybody knows what Manchester United is. That's pretty easy. But for Snapdragon, for Red, we actually have the same goals, which is to get people to engage and learn more about our brands. And so this is like a case study in how to do that.
Mark?
I think for us, look, we're in the third year of our partnership with Qualcomm, the first year of the enhanced front of jersey principal partnership, and the partnership just continues to evolve day on day, month on month, year on year. There's so much more to come. I've been around a long time in this industry, worked on a lot of partnerships, and it's great to work with someone like Don that has this very clear vision of where they want to take the brand. And you can go on that journey together and really achieve something special because of what Don is trying to build. We're on the jersey now. We're talking about things at Carrington. We have a redeveloped training centre, tech needs there, the new stadium even. We showed Don some of the models and designs on Thursday night here. So just very excited about where we can take this partnership over the coming years.
Yeah. And digital transformation, Manchester United is going through this transformation, and as they look to the new stadium project, which is beyond a stadium, it's a whole district redevelopment project, to have our technology injected into that process because of our partnership is going to be super special. So that's one thing I think that will continue to evolve and continue to drive, because it's not just about, yes, we extract value out of our partnership, but we also want to bring value to our partnership, and so that's going to be amazing. We're working with them on Carrington now. But for us, beyond building brand for Snapdragon and the strides that we've made, and I presented to our board recently, and what's driving awareness for the brands that I manage. And Snapdragon, there were two things that were driving brand growth. One was our partnership with Manchester United, and our brand partnerships, and then the other was just the investment that we made in our compute business and going direct to consumer. Those were the two things driving brand growth. So it's amazing to kind of see that as a KPI, and so that's great. But then with the Red partnership with Jen and the team, when you look at the marketing mix for a brand, or you look at brand ethos, and you look at what you want to convey to your target audience, it's got to be beyond performance and speed and all the different things that your brand stands for. Your brand has to have soul. Yeah. Right, and especially if you're going to speak to this new generation of consumer, and so this falls into the soul sector of brand ethos for Snapdragon, and this is where an area where we've been focusing on more recently, because we nailed kind of all the other pieces. And we've been starting to work on soul, and this is our first endeavor into that.
There's no better way than driving and fighting inequality in the health system, for sure. And I'm not going to ask you who's going to win today.
I think we all know.
We all know.
But we're not going to jinx it, right? Like, knock on wood. I'm very superstitious.
Well, thank you for spending some time with me, and I'm looking forward to the match.
Let's have some fun. Thank you.